Let's think a bit more about the role intuitions are supposed to play in epistemology, at least traditionally. Um, and there's a particular way intuitions are used, and Weinberg, Nichols, and Stitch have this silly name for it. They call it intuition driven romanticism, and we'll use that for now. Um, the idea is what we do in epistemology, we've been doing this a lot all semester, is we've relied on intuitions about cases as data for doing epistemology, for our theorizing. And this is extremely popular in philosophy widely and in epistemology. So in philosophy widely, you get all sorts of cases, maybe in morality, where I describe a case to you. I might say, imagine a situation where there's a trolley coming down a track, and on one track there are 5 people, on another there's 1, and it will go on the 5-person track unless you pull the lever and make it switch to the 1-person track. What should you do? So I might give you that sort of case, and you give this intuition about whether you should do pull the lever or not pull the lever. That's a sort of intuition pump that's supposed to serve as data for finding out what the correct theory of ethics is. Similar in epistemology, we've seen this a lot. So here are some examples we've seen. These are just a couple. We've seen more than this even. Gettier cases. So when we think about Gettier cases, as we discussed in the last video, we get intuitions about what the subject in the Gettier case knows, what the subject in the Gettier case is justified in believing, and we use that to think about what our definition of knowledge should be. The zebra case from Fred Dretske, and skeptical cases more generally, we describe a case and we say, does the person know in this sort of case? We want an intuition, an intuitive judgment about this. Clairvoyance case is definitely one of these kind of cases. Here, not about knowledge, but about justification. We describe Norman the clairvoyant and we ask, is Norman justified? And if you say no, that's supposed to be data for our theorizing. In particular, it's supposed to be evidence against reliabilism about justification. And we've seen this in many other examples as well, in both talking about knowledge and talking about justification. And what Weinberg, Nichols, and Stitch start by pointing out, and seems plausible, look, if the way we get at answers to these questions, if our data for theorizing in epistemology is the intuitive judgments of people, that's the data we use to find out if our theory is right, it'd be bad if different people had different intuitions. If we had different intuitive judgments about these cases, we'd have sort of mixed or contradictory data. It'd be very hard to know what to do. And it turns out, according to Weinberg, Nichols, and Stitch's results at least, is that people do have different intuitions about these cases. Their judgments, their intuitive judgments are different. And so, in particular, what they find really worrying is that this difference for them in these results seems to break down along racial or cultural lines and socioeconomic lines. And that seems really worrying to them. That seems like if intuitive judgments are different, widely different across different racial or cultural or socioeconomic lines, then maybe we shouldn't trust intuitive judgments about cases like Gettier cases, zebra cases, clairvoyance cases. Maybe we shouldn't trust our intuitive judgments about them, or we shouldn't allow those judgments to serve as data when we're thinking about what the right epistemological theories are.